There's a scene that repeats itself, with small variations, in the life of almost every man. He's going through something hard, a health scare, a debt, a crisis in his marriage, a fear he can't even name. And when someone asks, "How are you doing?" he answers with a smile, "All good." A lie. A small lie, almost automatic, told so many times that sometimes he doesn't even notice he's lying anymore. Why do we do this? Why do men, specifically, learn to hide the very thing that most needs to be shown? The answer starts long before adulthood. It starts in childhood, in the subtle messages society sends boys. Be strong. Don't show weakness. Handle it on your own. These messages don't just come from parents. They come from school, from movies, from jokes between friends, from the very language we use. Be a man quietly became, without anyone noticing, a synonym for don't feel. And the boy learns to link two things that, in truth, have nothing to do with each other: strength and the absence of emotion. He comes to believe that weakness is the emotion itself, when, in fact, weakness is the inability to handle it. Hiding pain isn't strength. It's just postponement. And postponement, sooner or later, collects the debt with interest. I knew a cardiologist, competent, respected, who only sought psychological help after having a minor heart attack at 47. His own body, ironically his own specialty, had to physically scream what he'd refused to admit emotionally for years. In our conversation, he told me he'd been carrying, in silence, the grief of his father's death, financial problems he hid even from his wife, and a deep exhaustion he simply called normal work stress. He said a line that sums this up well. I spent my whole life taking care of other people's hearts and completely ignoring my own. His body had stored everything his mind refused to process. And in the end, it was the body that had to stop the man his mind kept insisting on keeping upright. Today, years later, he tells this story to his own patients, not as a doctor, but as someone who learned, the hardest way possible, that denying weakness doesn't make it disappear. It just hides it, for a while, somewhere more dangerous. This isn't an isolated case, it's a pattern. Men hide their weaknesses until the body, the marriage, or the mind itself collapses, because that's how they learned to handle everything. But here's a truth that needs to be said plainly. Acknowledging a weakness doesn't diminish a man. It grows him. Because it takes more courage to admit, "I'm not okay," than to pretend everything's under control. Pretending is the easy path, even if it looks like the strong one. Admitting is the hard path, even if it looks like the weak one. Real strength isn't the absence of weakness. It's the ability to look at it straight on, without running. And, when necessary, to ask for help. Not as a last resort, but as a smart strategy. I ask you, what weakness are you hiding right now, even from the people who love you most? Maybe it's a financial fear. Maybe it's a sadness you can't name. Maybe it's a dependency, a quiet addiction, something you keep promising to deal with when there's time. You don't need to shout it to the whole world, but you do need, at minimum, to stop lying to yourself about the fact that it's there. If something in this conversation hit close to home, I want to propose a small but important commitment. Write it now in the comments, the phrase, "I don't have to be strong alone." No one will know your specific weakness, and they don't need to. But writing those 6 words is already the first step toward no longer carrying it in secret. No hidden weakness disappears. It just transforms into illness, into distance, into outbursts of anger that make no sense, into a deep loneliness inside relationships full of people. Facing your weakness isn't the end of your strength. It's the beginning of it. If you recognize today something you've been hiding for too long, maybe this is the moment to stop carrying it alone.